What was that?
That was me starting the recording. So I
Okay,
don't.
good. I'm hearing voices.
Yes, I need to do that immediately when I open up, when I'm supposed to do that. Otherwise, I forget about it later, and then I'm halfway through the meeting, and then I go, I forgot to turn on the recording. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope we have a good turnout. Sincerely do.
How many did you get a count?
I didn't do any sort of RSVP or anything. I really did send it out to every single vice president of public relations. And just, again, it was the very first one, hoping for a good engagement and trying to see where we go from here. So.
Still 6 minutes, so maybe they're coming.
Yes, there is definitely time. Good evening again, everybody. My name is Shelley. I am your host for this evening's activities. I wanted to let you know that I just put the agenda out into the chat. If you did not get it from the invite, there's one available there for you to grab. So please try to have your chat open, and so you can grab it and you can talk to a few people and come and check it out. Make sure you see what we're going to plan on talking about for the night. So I see a Kimberly and a Leslie and another Kimberly. So we have Kimberly B and a Kimberly with no name, last name. So we might need to be careful on the Kimberly conversations tonight and make sure we don't forget who's who. Kimberly B, it's good to see you. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to print out the information that you sent me. And apparently my printer's out of paper.
Oh, well, that could be a small problem, yes.
I'm going to go add paper.
Yes. Is that Kimberly Rude?
Yes, it is.
I kind of
Hi.
thought so. I haven't seen your face in ages. I'm impressed I remembered.
I know it's been a long time.
Yes, it has. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. I don't know if you received notification or not when you were joining, but I am recording tonight so that we can post this out and let everyone else see the information that we're hopefully going to be sharing here over tonight and over hopefully the rest of the next year here. So you're being recorded. I have a few more people jumping on here. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening.
Hello, Tony. And hello, Lindsay. Hello.
Hi, Shelley. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm great.
I was just talking to somebody a little bit ago. I was just finishing up my club meeting here a little bit ago, and they're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I am tired." It's been a busy week this week. I'm ready.
If we're going to be honest, I'm exhausted. I'm so wiped.
Yeah, it's been a week,
I
definitely.
mean, I have a glass of wine. Anyone want to join me?
Ah.
There we go.
No, if
What you got?
yeah, if I wasn't running the meeting, I would totally be joining you. Trust me. So it's like you'll have to have one for me until later. Awesome. All right, I see Todd has joined. And of course, I said hello to Leslie earlier. Just a quick reminder, guys, that we do have this meeting being recorded. My goal is to do this and have it posted out on the website so that if other vice presidents of public relations want to gather any information and see some of the stuff that we're sharing with each other, we can go ahead and transfer information back and forth as much as humanly possible. I did post the agenda out into the chat. I don't know if you guys are still able to see that or not. I'll go ahead and grab it here one more time so that you can have it in case you didn't see it in the meeting invite. I want to make sure everybody is able to see what we got planned for discussion. All right. It is 7:01, so I think I'll go ahead and keep moving forward here. I'll allow people to jump in here as we keep going forward with the meeting and stuff, but thank you again for coming tonight. I wasn't sure exactly how many people were going to join, but I'm glad to see some new faces and some familiar faces. I want to first of all and foremost take a moment and allow you guys to introduce each other. So the one thing that I'm hoping above anything else is that we start a community here. You are not alone in your role. If you've had this role before, I don't know how much you've been able to network with other vice presidents of public relations, but one of the very first things that I am hoping to do is engage every single one of you and realize that we are a community here, and there is a lot of knowledge that we should be able to transfer and share with each other, and that starts with getting to know each other first. So my very first item is to take about 1 or 2 minutes each, provide us with your name, the club you belong to, and share with us how public relations is used in your current job. That's a big one, right? How is public relations used in your current job? And what is it that you would like to learn over the next year? I'll repeat that one more time and then I'll go ahead and go first. 1 to 2 minutes, name the club you belong to. How do you see public relations being used in your current job? And what would you like to learn? I'm Shelley. I am part of Bold and Blue Toastmasters based out of Fargo, North Dakota. And of course, I am the one that is trying to start this conversation by being the manager of public relations for the district. So if there's anything that needs to be done district-wide with public relations, I'm technically the one in charge of it in some way, shape, or form. But I am based out of Fargo, and I have a fantastic club out of there. I just finished my club meeting about a half hour ago. PR used in my current job. I'm in a quality assurance group. And I have found that nobody understands what that is. So I have actually spent the past year going around to the different departments in the company that I work for and explaining them who we are, what we do, and the value behind it. That, to me, has been one of the biggest PR challenges I have faced in a really long time. And I am hoping to learn the best way to support this district moving forward in public relations. I think it's probably become one of the most vital parts of success, especially with this system that we work in now and how we are online almost 99% of the time. Transferring from an open house, which was traditionally the way we used to do things all the time, to where we are now having to do this online, it's almost impossible not to be able to know how to work public relations on an electronic platform. So that's me. I have my Hollywood squares open here, and I'm going to start on the bottom right-hand side here and start with Todd. Todd, would you please go first and share your face first and then who you are and where you're at?
All right, I'll share my face here, although I do have bandwidth issues, so I probably will go back and hide that so you all don't have to see it later.
Fair enough.
My name is Todd Taylor. I am with Eros Toastmasters Club. And public relations for my job, I guess it would be, I'm a task lead for international partnership. We deal with a lot of international ground station, or there's different ground stations that receive Landsat satellite data. So I interact with the technical people around the world, and that takes a little public relations as well as interacting with my own customer. I'm a contractor, so I interact with the customer who's USGS at the center at Eros. And to be honest with you, the goals I want to get out of this are really just keep the wheels on the bus. Our club has struggled quite a bit with being remote. We've been remote since March of last year. And it's really tough to recruit when you're that way, and also even just get the word out and have people interested in being a part of just a Zoom meeting for a Toastmasters meeting.
Sure, sure. Todd, where is your club located at? I missed that.
We're in Sioux Falls, just north of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, at the Earth Resources Observation and Science Center. It's a United States Geological Survey federal building.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. That gives me a physical location, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Todd. I hope we can accommodate and help your club here over the next few months. Tony, would you like to go next?
I'm with the Eastside Toastmasters. It is a company club with Daktronics in Brookings, South Dakota. And PR for me is a bit of a new shift, if you will. I'm an IT guy. I work with networking, and the only time that I'm interacting with people outside of my group is once in a blue moon, it seems. I mean, I do deal with some of our customers. Like, we do have some big customers that I have to deal with from time to time, but it realistically is the contract's already signed. I'm just dealing with the technical portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to learn or get out of this is, as Todd was talking about, trying to get new people in when we're all virtual is very difficult. We have successfully got into new members recently this last week.
Ooh, nice.
But we are still, even with those new members, down to 13 people. So we are struggling.
Okay. Got it. Tony, did you say that you were a developer? Oh, did you lose me? I hope you didn't lose me. Ah. Are you there? Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay. Tony, did you say that you were an IT developer?
Networking, computer networking.
Oh,
So my job is basically the dealing with anything that connects our internal network to the outside world.
Yep.
So anything on that border is what I deal with. So all of the remote offices that connect with VPN, that's my job.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. That helps. All right, moving on. Leslie Stone, would you like to share with us your FYI?
Yeah, so my name is actually Isley.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I get Leslie all the time.
Busted.
All the time. It's okay. I am a graphic designer for a commercial printer in Brandon, South Dakota, but I belong to the Yankton Club. I suppose in the work that I do, I use a lot of PR relations, dealing with clients every day.
Mhm.
I belong to several chamber committees that plan special events for the community. So
Okay.
I suppose this is probably a good one for me just to kind of learn, and yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. Thank you. Lindsay?
Sorry, I was looking at your order of people and it wasn't me next.
Oh.
So I will go now. Lindsay Hayes, I'm a member of Club 504-2390 in Vermillion, South Dakota. You're laughing at me, Shelley.
Oh, no.
Kim too, my goodness, look at all y'all. So as far as my as far as my job goes, I work for the University of South Dakota. We have a lot of branding and marketing, and that's very interesting to me, and how we can incorporate the Toastmasters side of things with their branding and marketing requirements with the USD requirements, just to make sure that we get an overarching experience for our faculty, staff, students, and the Vermillion community as a whole within the Toastmasters environment. So what I'm kind of looking forward to with this year is understanding kind of how those the trademarks and the copyrights, the intricacies, I suppose, of both brandings work together.
That makes sense. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I threw you for a loop, but yes, I suppose my order is a little different than yours. So drum roll, Kim Brookheimer is next.
Now you went to the top row.
See?
I am Kim Brockmeyer. I'm in the Tyson Fresh Meats Toastmasters Club in Dakota Dunes, South Dakota. So we're the furthest south club that you can get to in our district. We're tucked right in there. In my job, I don't necessarily do a lot of PR work, but I am involved in an organization called the North American Renderers Association, NARA. And what we do is promote rendering industry, the rendering industry, because that's what I sell is the rendered products for Tyson. So rendered products are like meat and bone meal, blood meal, tallow, those type of things, a lot of things that go back into feed and into various different industries. As part of that, I am the communications director for NARA. And we do have a communications person on staff, but I oversee what she does. So I'd like to learn more about it from the aspect of Toastmasters, as well as if I can add anything to NARA. We're doing our first podcast next week, and I'm very anxious to see how that turns out because we've got quite a few people involved.
Yeah, I bet.
There you have it.
Thank you very much, Kim. Next up on the victim board, I mean on my screen, is Greg Carlson. Greg, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Greg Carlson, Bismarck Toastmasters Club 717, serving also as Club Growth Director this year. So Shelley and I will be working together on a number of different initiatives. For my work, I don't really interact that much with the public relations side. I do institutional research for the North Dakota University system and work with the Department of Public Instruction on their K-12 statewide public school accountability reporting, and also help school and district leaders in using data resources. There may be some pieces of that where I'll be a little bit more involved coming up if we get a major project approved, but it's not determined at this point. The closest aspect that I have to deal with public relations is probably serving as president of the Rotary Club that I'm in. So I've kind of been the face of the club, which is something I enjoy, but it's not something I'm real good at. Marketing and public relations certainly are not among my skill sets. What I hope to learn today is how I can better help you. Well, help Shelley and then help each of you in your clubs to utilize public relations and marketing resources. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. And thanks for the shout out. All right. Kimberly Rude, you are up next.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I'm Kimberly Rude. I'm in with Gate City Toastmasters Club in Fargo, North Dakota. I no longer work. I retired a year ago. When I did work, I worked at the Fargo VA Medical Center. My job really didn't have anything to do with public relations. My public relations was more informal. As you probably are aware, whenever there was any sort of a hint of a scandal or something bad with the VA, it got huge publicity and front page news, and people seem to delight in saying, oh, what a horrible place that is and what horrible things are going on. And part of what I would try to do to friends and family who would hear these things is try to give them more of a realistic outlook that, you know, we match our care to anybody's, and we are a great organization and patients love us. What happened was unfortunate, but it was an isolated incident and in another VA a long ways away. Really has nothing to do with total VA care. Trying to give a better perspective, because people tend to seize on the worst and take a lot of glee in looking at this big organization that had a problem. What I'd like to get out of our meetings is learn how to use, we do have a website and we do have a Facebook page, which I discovered by accident. I'm not very good technologically. I would like to be able to take those and update them and get them in good order. I'm not even sure who the administrator is or was of those, the Facebook and the website. They probably aren't even club members anymore. So I'm not even sure where to go to try to update it and make it useful and use it as a tool to attract new members.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Thank you very much, Kimberly. Dorothy.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Rosby. I'm with Top 5 Toastmasters in Rapid City, South Dakota. And I'm self-employed. I am a syndicated humor columnist and author. And so I use public relations a lot because, well, public relations to me is free stuff. And because I can't afford a lot of advertising and marketing, I depend on public relations whenever possible in my career to get new newspapers and to sell books. So that's what I do. I guess what I'd like to learn as we're meeting is we are meeting in person now, again, our club, and we definitely have some recovery operations that we need to recover a bit after the last year. We did lose members over the last year. We met on Zoom, but we lost several really devoted members, and they have not come back. So we're going to need to rebuild a bit and get back on our feet. So I guess that's what I'm going to need to focus on.
Okay, thank you very much, Dorothy. I am circling back to Tanya.
My name is Tanya Harris. I am a member of EdLib in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We have a unique club in that we're basically closed. I think I'm the only non-school district member. Everybody else comes from the Sioux Falls School District. And our Sioux Falls School District interns are slated to be part of our Toastmasters Club for a year and have to certain requirements that they have to meet in order to finish out their internship on the school district side of things. My thing that I would like to learn today is how can I utilize Facebook more with a closed club that is kind of thinking about opening up to other people, but would like to actually recruit from the Sioux Falls School District more than anything else.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So I heard a lot of, we got some solid representation from South Dakota. So hats off to that state for showing up and representing. Nicely done, guys. As
I'd
you
like
can-
to point out that most of us are from Division F.
Okay, I think Kim just did a mic drop. Okay, fine. The one thing that I also want you guys to realize is that we have a very broad scope of needs and wants within this group. And what I really wanted to do here tonight is to bring all of us together, and you guys being the first group to come together, is to lay out a path of training over the next year. And I know that sounds overwhelming, but it's not going to be a full year, but at least over the next 4 to 5 months, and set up these meetings on a monthly basis and dedicate it to the topics that you guys were just sharing with me. I was jotting them down as you were talking about them. There is really no way that I'm going to be able to cover every one of your needs in 1 hour. There's going to be people that'll be left behind. There's going to be people that'll be way ahead. We have a lot of different knowledge bases happening here. And I found that when I've tried to like lump everything together into one, I just lose everybody because they're either bored or overwhelmed. So my hope here is that with your guidance and your needs that you start to identify here, that we're going to be able to take the next 4 or 5 months and lay out. Next meeting that we have, we're going to talk about Facebook. Next meeting that we have, we're going to talk about this. I mean, and just have one topic for that that hour. And if you don't need it, you don't need to come. If you want to come and help support the cause, you can help come and share your information. Any way that you are able to either learn or engage with your knowledge is going to be helpful for everybody here. Again, this is here for networking. I encourage you guys to add your name and your email into the chat. I plan on grabbing those, sending them out to the group here. I'm not putting them out for the whole world to see. But I want you guys to start to feel comfortable reaching out to each other with questions and start to communicate with one another, because if there's anything that I think we've all learned through over this past year with COVID and all of this remoteness is that we have become a lot more isolated in ways, and it's a lot harder to communicate in our regular Toastmaster world. So please take a moment to add your information there. And I hope that as we start to move through this, you'll start to feel more comfortable speaking with one another moving forward. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Let's talk about some other stuff. I'm going to one more last time here put the agenda out on the chat. You guys should be able to open it one last time if you haven't had a chance to yet. But I wanted you to be able to follow along with the items that we were talking about. And the next section that I have on this agenda here is a basic information share. These are all the things that you should be learning about and comfortable with when you got into your new role. So by a show of hands, or at least a yay or nay, how many of you went through your officer training? Somewhat. If you weren't able to at some point, and yeah, everyone's waving, thank you. If you weren't at some point, the information that's on this agenda is a vital foundation for you to start to understand where, what your role is, what you're supposed to be doing, and help define why you're doing what you're doing for your club. So I'll go through some of these here. And again, I know that we have a lot of different knowledge bases, and I know some of you guys are like, yeah, I know about this. Yeah, I know about this. I would like you guys to share, if you do know about it, what have you found valuable? What have you not found valuable? Tell me that this is junk and we shouldn't be talking about it anymore. I am open to any sort of feedback that you can provide here in this forum. So the first item that I have here is the public relations section of the Toastmasters website. And if you are able to, at some point, if you have not been in this section, it's vital for you to learn. And I will get to the link and I will bring it up so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And I will tell you this, and I'll be the first one to admit that the Toastmasters website can be one of the most unuser-friendly items on the face of the earth. And I'm sure at times you've probably gone, I can't find anything on this. I hope that this will help in some capacity. All right, let me know that you can see my desktop. I see a couple shaking heads. Good. Okay. So it really gives you a basic definition of what public relations even is in the first place. And the one thing that I want to be able to point out is that you are not in charge of membership. I'm throwing you under the bus, Greg, sorry. A lot of your focus seems to be on membership. You, as a vice president of public relation, is responsible for working with your VP of membership on their needs. So when I heard a few of you guys talk about how you need to help with membership, or we need to increase membership, we need to do that, that is not your role, technically. Your role is to support the VP of membership in their needs. That membership role that that vice president of membership has, they are the ones that are supposed to be focused on creating the open houses or the membership drives and all of that different things. Your role is to be able to find the best platform, the best way to communicate those events, those needs out to the public or your target audience. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways that I had from my training when I first started, because membership always seems to be like the biggest albatross around our neck. And knowing that your job is to work with this person and you are not in charge of it, I think changes your perspective quite a bit. Any thoughts or comments or questions on that? I hope somebody finally went, phew.
I just think you bring up, sorry, Shelley,
You're good.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I was going to agree with you in that I think we focus so much on membership, but we have a VP of membership for that very reason. And being able to get the word out about what we're doing is something that I think gets lost a lot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you have not been out to that page, it's really kind of a very quick landing page. And some of the other items that I have listed in the agenda here are actually located on this web page. So it really is like a very good starting point for you if you've never been out here before. So thank you for sharing that, Lindsay. I could not agree with you more. Any other comments at all? I stopped sharing so that I could see faces and anybody raising their hand. So no. Okay. Next item in here is the let the world know. And if you go onto the public relations page that I was just showing, at the very bottom of it, when you scroll down, there's a link right to this promotion handbook. I can't stress how much of a resource this is for you. There is a PDF copy of it that you can download, and it's really worth being able to access. I will also bring that up on my screen here so that you can see what that looks like. Typically, when you guys go through your officer training, they should be showing this to you and or giving you a copy of this, whether it's physical or electronic. If you don't have a copy of it, you desperately need to have one handy. So let me grab my screen here again really quick. And give me a thumbs up if you can see. Yes, okay, perfect. I think one of the most helpful things that I found in here is, again, defining what you really should be doing. And it does indicate the fact that what is public relations, what your goal is, why you're doing this in the first place, and where your lane is, for lack of a better word. I don't know if you ever had that comment made to you before, but it really does define what your duties and responsibilities should be for the year. And taking this in small pieces is helpful, number one. And number two, it really helps with understanding how to maneuver through the different needs that a club has. How many of you guys have seen this before or looked through it before? Have you found this helpful? No? Yes, I saw a couple heads
Seen
shaking.
it.
Go ahead, please.
I've seen it. I read it earlier today because I was going to know what you were talking about tonight. So
Okay, good. You have to start somewhere, right? And
yes,
when you pick on,
exactly.
when you start a new role like this, you're just like, what the heck did I just get myself into? What am I supposed to be doing? I mean, this really is a starting point and kind of gives you your parameters and your lane and some guidelines on where to start. Okay. Next resource I have, lost my screen here. Come back here. Oh, there. Okay. This is kind of a new area that I started to learn about, and it's called the Toastmasters Media Center. I'm curious to see how many of you guys have been out to this. I'm happy that all the links are working while I'm on it. That means you guys have the links to it too. I think one of the most valuable things that I've found out here is the media kit, and I'll be going into that a little bit later and stuff like that. But there are overall like news releases and basic like what do you want to say, press releases, that if you guys are looking to throw something out into your newspaper in some capacity to even talk about what Toastmasters is in any way, shape, or form, there's stuff out here that actually helps you construct that, and you see what they have available. It is an easy copy paste for you to be able to submit to a newspaper, to a radio, all of those different areas. Has anyone been out here and seen or used any of the information that's been out here? No? Okay, it is newer. I'm not going to.
I've been out there, this Todd, I've been out there a long time ago, actually. They have their Toastmaster logo too, so you can get that logo if you ever want to attach it to something and make it look professional.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tease you a little bit. It's not if you want to, it's when you need to. And it should be on everything. And I'm getting to that a little bit later and stuff, but yes. What you see here is some basic news releases that are coming from Toastmasters International. They're obviously advertising the convention coming up this weekend. But spend some time getting out here to look at what's available, just as basic like advertising on what Toastmasters is. I mean, if you send something about Forbes on how to confidently pitch a startup, I mean, somebody's going to take a look at that. I'm like, who are you, Lindsay Hayes, and why are you talking about Forbes magazine? You know, I mean, there is a lot of really good information out here. Todd, were you the one that talked about the logo there? Did I catch that correctly? That falls under branding. And that is one of the main areas that I am going to spend some time with you guys at some point. And I'm hoping to be able to use as a separate area or a separate meeting just on branding alone. So it is probably one of the number 2 responsibilities for you. Well, the first one was to remind you that you're not a membership person. And the number 2 is to tell you that you are a brand ambassador. everything that your club uses, everything that the public sees, everything that is used as a visual in any way, shape, or form for your club should have some sort of branding for Toastmasters on there, and it should be consistent. Think about McDonald's. When you've gone out to California, when you've gone to New York, Texas, Florida, you see those M, you know you're going to be at McDonald's. When you see that circle with the blue in it, and it's at the bottom corner, right, left, middle of a big page, that's Toastmasters. That's the same concept and the same branding that you're responsible for now moving forward for the rest of the year. Okay, I'm circling back to one more thing here. Media kit. What a lovely thought. There is some very basic background information. Again, what Toastmasters is, where we're at, what we do, who we are, what our purpose is. And if you need to find some way to get an article put out into a newspaper, a magazine, into a radio, this is your starting point. This is your background. How many people come up to you and say, I don't even know what Toastmasters is? And you know, you're supposed to have the elevator speech and you're supposed to have all this stuff to rattle off, all of that stuff. This is your kit that gives all of the who, what, where, why, and when of Toastmasters. Okay. Questions on that at all? Are you finding this useful? I do not want to bore you. This is the last thing that I want to have happening right now. Okay, good. When everyone gets quiet, I'm like, oh God, are you still there? Please come back. Please come back. All right. The next bullet point that I have in here is some of the official social media groups and pages. Toastmasters is everywhere. Did you know that? They're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, they're everywhere. So that link is going to take you to all of the spots that Toastmasters is active. Now, let me just say this much. This can get extremely overwhelming. You're like, I need to get on social media. Well, if you've never done that before, try to pick one to get on comfortably and own. And then once you get that up and running, then move to another one. Do not feel like you're going to take all of them on and get them up and running all at the same time. What is very, very helpful with this is to be able to grab content from here and share it into different areas. And I hope I'm not over talking in some capacity that way. I typically use Facebook lingo as a starting point because most everybody is familiar with that and what it means to share a post, share a link, share a photo, all of that type of stuff. When you're following the official Toastmasters International group, you're going to find a massive amount of information that you can simply share into your Facebook page personally. Just start doing that, and you're already advertising Toastmasters for your club. At some point, I want to have a meeting dedicated to how to post on Facebook, how to share, all of that different stuff. I do plan to do it, but at the very least, whatever platform you're on and you're most comfortable with, grab this, follow it, and start sharing it to your personal pages so that you can start to see the information that's out there. I'll pause there again for a second. Questions? How many of you guys are following any of these? What have you found to be the most beneficial?
And so, Shelley, this is Lindsay. When I was doing the Pathways Guide stuff, there were specific groups for Pathways Guides in Facebook and in LinkedIn, which led into the official LinkedIn and Facebook pages. And I think that there's a lot of good overlap of information in there as far as trainings and just kind of connecting with people outside of our district and divisions. So I found that very helpful for me. And then I claimed it as work time and professional development. So if anybody needs an excuse for being on social media during the day, I think that that's a pretty fair one.
Yeah, yes, definitely, definitely. Anyone else follow any of the pages at all?
Oh.
I mean, at the bare minimum, guys, I mean, that's one of the easiest things to really do, and just sharing it out to your personal page. I mean, it's a starting point. I mean, you look at all these grand big ideas on all these things that you need to do, just something as little as clicking a share can be a starting point, and you can build from there.
Our club has a Facebook page and we do share on that page, but I guess I didn't even ever think about that could be content for us to share, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, very much.
But we're not on LinkedIn or on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
I think the major platforms that have been the most, I've found the most hunger for has been LinkedIn and Meetup. Facebook is kind of falling off a little bit, but those two have really proven to be the most, I want more information on how to do this. And so again, one of the meetings I'm hoping to be able to set up is to walk through how do we do Meetup. There's a possibility that I can set a whole district-wide meetup session, and you guys just give me your club information and it's out there. I mean, I'm not sure. Your input on the best way to work through some of this stuff is going to be vital, so that we as a district and you as a club are the most successful moving forward. I hope
I've never heard of Meetup.
I was just gonna
Is
say,
Meetup a new one?
I hope it wasn't going over your head. That was my next question, Dorothy. Who can
Never
share?
heard of it.
Share somebody share what please what Meetup is, and I'm going to queue up my next item here. Oh, somebody knows.
I know LinkedIn, but I don't know Meetup.
I'm not real familiar with Meetup, but I know a little bit about it. And essentially what it is it's a platform where people can go to find out what's happening in their areas. And Toastmasters meetings could be among the things that are happening. Your club can put them up there. It could be done at a club, district, division level, any of those, but it's a way for people to help, or way to help people find and connect with you in a virtual platform based on location, essentially.
Thank you, Greg. Did that help, Dorothy?
Do we have one? I mean, are they everywhere? Like, I'm in Rapid City. Is there a Meetup here? Huh.
I was just going to say, if there's one thing that you're going to hear me say every single time in a meeting, and probably numerous times, is that if you don't know what I've said or someone has thrown a term at you, Google it. I'm not joking. Google is your best friend as this rolls out, especially if you're having issues finding something on the Toastmasters International website. I cannot tell you how many times I have defaulted to Google and just typed in, I did it tonight, I needed to get the evaluation form for the speech that I was evaluating. And I typed in Toastmasters evaluation form and the level that she was at, and poof, there it was. There's no way that works on that site. I hate it. It stinks that it's not that way, but I cannot tell you how valuable Google is. So Dorothy, if you have not seen it before, it is very valuable just to say, what is Meetup? And you can get a really good overview that way. Does anyone's club on Meetup at all right now? No? Okay. Nope, that's fine. I'm in a division that actually set up a Meetup. And this is actually one of the conversations that I want to be able to have. So like Greg mentioned, it can be done by location. And my Division D area is mostly in Fargo, but we have all of the clubs that are in that division. And it's all like Eastern North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. And you're able to put all the clubs in one area, and it gives a person, again, you're going to hear me say this a lot, who, what, where, why, and when. Who you are, what you do, where you meet, what time, how to contact you, and all of that type of information. And you're basically able to RSVP. I'm going to attend your meeting next Thursday. And they get notification of it. Okay. One last resource for you guys. And this one, to me, I already started talking about it once, and you're going to hear me talk about it again. Your main job, other than not being a membership, in charge of membership, is being able to be a brand ambassador. And that starts with the brand manual. That link that I have out on the agenda will take you to this page, and the manual is right here. Now, when you click on it, it's going to take you to, and I need to make sure that it's going to share the, where did you go? Darn it.
Shelley,
Shelley,
I think we lost you.
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Oh, technology is fun. I apologize. I heard that you lost me and then I was lost and I had to wait to come back. So are you able to hear me okay?
Yep, now.
Okay, I'm gonna go close the door here. Just 1 second. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're all still here. That's like the worst feeling ever. All right. I was talking about your number one responsibility in your role for the next year, and that is being a brand ambassador. And I was sharing my desktop. I'm going to attempt to do that again and make sure it behaves. So here we go. We'll try one more time. And the link that I have in the agenda takes you out to this brand portal. And the area that I really want you to focus on and zone in on is this brand manual. There's a link here. And if you scroll down, here is the manual. You're able to download it free. And this is going to have all of the magic of the Toastmasters brand. There is instructions on how to use the logo, when to use the logo, how to appropriately use the background like Greg has behind him right now. All of that information is out here. It's interactive. I made this one really small. Sorry, I didn't mean to go that far with it. Come back. You can link to all of these things right through here, but download this. Other than the let the world know item, this should be your number two. So these two items, I cannot stress enough, are your guide to be successful over the next year. The other thing I wanted to point out that's connected to this, and we'll get to it at some point, but they talk about logos, fonts. I know I'm going to throw a bunch of terminology out here with you. There is also a spot at some point where there is a whole photo gallery with a massive amount of professional photos for you to use, so that you don't have to worry about, I mean, it's always good to have like local pictures of your club and everything like that, but if you're wanting to raise the bar a little bit more, and again, have a consistent look and feel to the way that you're promoting your club, we'll get to that point, but there is a huge photo gallery available for you guys to use. When you're going through this document and you see the pictures here, they're all available, they're available to you all over the place out here. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing again. Okay. Hey, you're all still here and I'm still here. Yay. All right. I'm going to pause here for a second and ask, do these resources make sense? Is it overwhelming? What questions do you have on them right now that I can possibly answer?
I have a quick question. Where are those photos that I could really use those on Facebook because I use Pixabay photos.
Okay. I can show you here after the meeting if you'd like.
Okay,
I do plan on spending a whole meeting on branding.
Okay,
And
okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I have no problem letting you know immediately where it's at. It's not a secret. If you dig a little bit, you'll be able to find it too. I'm not trying to keep it a secret from you by any stretch of the imagination. So, but yeah, anything else?
Well, could you just share, like send out an email to all of us with the links and what we talked about?
Links to the resources I just shared?
Every resource. Yeah. All of them, Shelley.
Yes. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in the meeting agenda. The links are there and I'm happy to do so afterwards again. Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Anything else? Okay. Moving on here, topics. So again, I want to be able to focus in again about what the purpose of your job is over the next year. Your job here on how to attract attention to your club through publicity. You're going to be practicing. Now, again, remember that you're in Toastmasters. You're not the expert at everything. If you are, you get to have my job because I'm not an expert. This is your place to learn all of this stuff and to expand your knowledge base. So our goal here is to practice creating and promoting and maintaining an image and a brand for your club. And we're able to use that by using a bunch of different communication channels and tools. So my biggest undertaking here over this next year is, as we sit here and move through these meetings over the next year, I want to put together tools/toolkits so that at the end of this year, Toastmaster year, when Dorothy leaves her role as the VP of Public Relations and a brand new person comes in, there is a whole resource library put in place that explains to people, how do you start promoting on Facebook? How do you conduct an open house? Who do you need to talk to at the newspapers? What do you do to get a magazine article in? So all of these like toolkits is what I'm trying to put into place here now. So, and I want your guys' input on as much of this as humanly possible. The website, does your club have a website? If not, where do you go to get one? All of these, it's so many different areas that are available. It's impossible, again, to slam into 1 hour. So again, I want to be able to take all of these different areas and spend an hour, figure out the best way to do it, get your guys' input on best practices, and create a toolkit from each one of them. And we can't do this by ourselves, right? My hope is that you guys start to talk to some other clubs in your area and say, this is going to be a very useful way for us to promote and learn more about this role. And if I am able to engage you guys correctly, even if you don't know something, the fact that you don't opens up questions for other people. And they're like, oh God, I didn't even think about that. So I want this to very much be a comfortable space to be able to share what you don't know and what you do know, because it's in that space where we find some of the best ideas ever. All right, so my 2 things here for those topics, as you were looking at the agenda there, again, it defines what your purpose is. And again, it redefines the fact that you are not responsible for membership or education programs. There are people in your club that are responsible for those. They're going to need your PR assistance, like with the education program, this Pathways. Do you guys know what the Pathways logo looks like? Some do, some don't. I would expect nothing more. That makes sense. There is a logo for Pathways. So if they're trying to get your club members to understand more about Pathways, wouldn't it be essential for you to brand all of your Pathways education for your club with the correct logo? At its basis, that should be a starting point, right? Okay. One last thing here about monthly meeting focus and toolkits. My question to you guys, and this is the bonus of you guys being the first group here. Does this make sense as a good idea over the next year? Would you come back? Are you sick of me? Do you never want to return? Tell me what's going on. I need some feedback here because I will be here every month. I will put one of these on every single month. My hope is that you guys come back. You're at a place right now where you can tell me next month I want to talk about.
So Shelley, this is Tanya speaking.
Hi.
And I have to say that this is probably the best informative hour on PR I've ever had. So thank you. I will come back.
Even with me dropping off the face of the earth, huh? That's impressive. Okay, thank you very much for saying that, Tanya. I appreciate it.
Also, I should let you know I'm a bookkeeper. I am not a PR person. So that's where I'm coming from. I need to start from the ground up.
Honestly, Tanya, when I took over this role, this is my second time in this on the district level. I feel like I'm starting from the ground up. when I meet with other districts and other regions within Toastmasters, you would not believe the programs that they have in place. And I know Greg's going to shake his head with this, where he's like, they're already got committees, they're doing promotions, they've got A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, I just want to get a toolkit put together, and I want to have some resources put together. And it would be fantastic that a year from now, when one of you fabulous people take over this role of mine, you're going to be able to grab all of this stuff and say, hey, we've got this going on and this going on and this going on. But we have to start somewhere. So Donnie, when you say that you're starting from the ground up, I feel exactly the same way. You guys don't have the resources or any place where anything is centralized for you to understand what you need to do or what you should do. Somebody like Lindsay, who's been around long enough, that knows some of the branding and everything, and including Greg, where he's been around long enough too. You already know a lot of the very basics of it, but I want you to be able to come back and share your knowledge. I want you to redirect where I go off the wrong path and we need to talk about something first, or in that capacity. I wrote down a couple notes I didn't take them with me when I ran to the other side of my apartment here, but we have some IT people on here. I'm just going to be a nerd here for a second. I'm in charge of our district website. I know nothing about HTML. I know nothing about layout on a website. I have everything that you see on there, I have learned on my own. And Isaiah, I saw that you were smiling. When I heard that we had IT people on here, I'm like, I'm like, yay. I need help in that area. So I want you to know that I am not coming at you as an expert. I am also here to learn from you guys too. What should be our next meeting? Talk to me about that. I have a list there where I just threw out some ideas, but.
Shelley, I think a good idea, going off the foundation idea, I think it would probably be best to start with maybe logos and which logos are out there and branding and stuff. And then that kind of leads into that whole social media aspect.
Thank you. I think that kind of feeds into Dorothy's question too, on wanting to know where all the pictures were at. Yeah. Okay. What else? Anyone else have any recommendations? I'm making you dizzy. My fan came on and it's super loud in here. Okay. Not hearing anything then. What I think you might have been reading my mind. If you look at the agenda, the very first thing that I have on there as an option is branding and a tagline. So if you guys know where all of the branding information is at and you know how to be able to utilize that information, I do agree with you. I think that's probably the best place to start. It's going to start as a foundational point for you guys so you understand how branding can be used, where it can be used, and just the smallest things that you can put your club information on, and it's there and around in some of the strangest places. My club has forms when we were meeting in person for the evaluator, for the Toastmaster, and for table topics and all of that type of stuff. And I have all of that information branded, and I have all of our contact information for our club on them. And you know, those random times where they're left on a table accidentally, or somebody happened to walk by my desk and see them sitting there. Everything that you needed to know about my club, who to contact, and basic like website information was all on an evaluation form or the agenda. Something just as simple as that, that's PR. Okay. I'm not hearing any violent reactions about starting with branding. Are we good there? Yeah. I love it. All right, I have two other areas here and then we're gonna be wrapping up. We only have a couple more minutes, but I did want you to know that there's a couple of people on the high level of Toastmasters International. So if you really get into a bind and you don't know what to do, or you can't get a hold of me or one of you guys, there is a PR email address to talk about publicity for social media and for branding. And they're listed there on the second page of the agenda. And then I put my Yahoo address in there, and in the chat, I put my Gmail. I've got two, so you can use either one. Okay. I have a temporary date set here of September 23rd for the next meeting. Since you guys are here, who's like, oh, heck no. Will that do, does that sound like an okay time? Same back channel, same back place? Yeah.
I'll be tentative for that particular day, but I will try to make it if I can.
Okay. All right, so my hope was that you guys were wanting to do branding, because if you look at the wrap up there, I asked for you guys to come prepared to provide a tagline for yourself. So what is the tagline for Toastmasters? Greg has it behind him. Thank
Where
you.
leaders are made.
Yes. So my question to you guys is, what is your tagline? I know.
Our clubs, or our personal.
You personal. Your club is going to have the same branding as Toastmasters International. So whether it's a club, a district, or all international, it's always where leaders are made. Okay. I'm going to give you IT people fair warning. I might be reaching out to you soon to talk about some website stuff, just FYI. So please don't bail on me completely, but I am looking forward to being able to meet up with, Tony, I know we talked about what you're doing with your roles too. So thank you guys very much for meeting up with me tonight. Was there any last questions or comments that I can answer here before we wrap up? I'm tight on facilitation and timing here, so I'm not going to keep you any longer than an hour, I promise. Nothing? All right. I highly encourage you to speak to some other clubs. I would love to see this grow. I hope that you all come back. If there's anything that you have questions on in between now and next month, don't hesitate to reach out. I am usually back in touch with you within a day or two at the most. I wish you the best luck moving forward. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself some time to learn. Maybe you'll do this again next year. Or like I said, you can have my role next year. All right, guys, have a fantastic evening and a great rest of your week. I have this recorded and I will be sharing out your email address to the rest of you. Thank you very much again for your time. We will talk to you next month, if not sooner. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.